Beyond the bell here, Adi Oladipo, IBF flyweight champion, Sonny Edwards, Mike Costello, the best man in the business at what he does as well. All right, let's wrap this. Let's start with the main event. You were there in the corner, animated, no surprise there. Obviously, Dalton Smith, a good friend of yours and teammate. What did you make of Dalton's performance?
I feel like every minute, really, that he's spent in a professional boxing ring thus far in his career, I feel like Dalton's been very much in control. Even the fights that, you know, didn't end up in a spectacular knockout like today's one, there was never any danger, there was never jeopardy. So, you know, some people are leaving the arena that time or, you know, reacting on the negative side, you know, oh, maybe he's not as good as we think he is, or maybe, you know, when the levels. No. When a fighter gets in over and over again throughout their career and wins, pretty much every second of every round, comfortably and convincingly, that's a great fighter. Just because someone's got a highlight reel knockout doesn't make them a better fighter. It just means the person they was matched with on that day, they could knock out. We know Sam Maxwell's good. We know Sam Maxwell's tough. He came in here to really try and get that twilight period of his career, the biggest win of his professional career. He didn't get it tonight. It was a devastating knockout. I like Sam Maxwell, personally. And yeah, it was hard because the moment obviously it changes. It's a different emotion, you know.
Yeah. When you see someone get knocked down like that, then you're right. The emotion changed to thinking about their safety more than thinking about anything else. Mike, look, you were commentating on it. What did you make of Dalton's performance?
Yeah, I mean, listening to all that Sonny was saying about, you know, barely losing a minute of any round in his professional career so far, I think what we learned on the outside, factors that you who spend virtually every day in the gym with him will know, but I think important factors. Last time out, he said, was the first time he'd been criticised. And when everybody's had a love-in with you, when you get that first knockback, whether it's online or from pundits and ex-world champions, that takes some recovering from mentally, because these are people you do listen to. And secondly, I know he's been cut in fights before, but not as savagely as that. And he kept his composure. Now, I know Grant was saying in the corner, you're on top, you're ahead, no need to take chances. But I thought generally what he did, his game didn't change as those cuts appeared. He did exactly what he was doing and stayed so composed.
I thought he got a bit more aggressive.
And still looking for the openings. Yeah. There was no rash business going on. He was just still looking clinically for the openings.
Yeah, I thought he got more aggressive when he got cut.
I feel like he was always looking and finding the shots. I feel like one thing with, if I'm honest, I feel like Maxwell got a bit of confidence from the cuts, and then there was a couple of times when they was trading hooks together. A couple of times in that exchange that Maxwell did get the slight better of the one shot, but I don't think he ever built on anything. I think he was way too gun shy there. He let Dalton, in my eyes, win every single round, especially the first 3-4. You know, the mission was to have a look at him, try and land some clean, heavy shots, but just don't give him any opportunity to land. Yeah. Then the next 4 rounds, he started building on it a little bit. The cuts came, and I felt like Maxwell then, you know, in the round before the stoppage, he started coming, and that's when he got hurt. He got hurt the round before, for me. I was screaming throw the towel at that point. That's why I was so animated, because I believe that devastating knockout to a friend of mine in Sam Maxwell could have and should have been stopped. Because it looked like, well, I knew it was any time coming. So I was very animated in the round before. Within 4 or 5 seconds of the next round starting, I'm shouting to Dalton. He's still hurt, finish him off. And he did in devastating fashion. I think Dalton can really, really punch. People might get frustrated sometimes at the patience he shows, but he's looking for that moment. He's looking for that passing in traffic. He's looking for that knockout shot. Without giving away the percentages of the win. If he just goes in, you know, firing all guns blazing, you're giving so much target, so much opportunity, you're burning through a gas tank. He could have boxed like that for 25 rounds and found the knockout tonight. Yeah,
he is very patient with his work, even the way he sets his shots up, isn't he, Mike? Very, very patient. He wins the British outright now. He's got the Commonwealth strap with that. He wants the European. So where does that put him then? European level, fringe world level, where is Dalton?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's ready for that European title. It's a bit of a messy situation, as I understand it, with mandatories, but by the time those cuts have healed, that should be resolved. And he should be in a very good position to challenge for that, whether there is a champion by then or if it's for the vacant belt. And I think we heard tonight, on a smaller scale of what we are going to hear about him, and you know the area as well as I do, but better than me, Sonny, you've been around here a long time now. There's something growing here in Sheffield. You know,
In the
there's
Steel City
definitely
gym,
something
that's where it's
going.
going. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
but it is, and more people are getting to know about it. And I think it's what's growing is something that's going to build beyond boxing, and that's what you need. Those are the nights you need, where people outside of boxing are talking about it.
Yeah, look, we know Dalton Smith's a special fighter. I think we can all agree that Pat McCormack's a very, very special fighter, isn't he? You watch him and you feel like you are watching someone that only he could let himself down and not win titles, because he looks like he's got everything, Sonny.
Do you know what is crazy? You know, because of the way boxing works, I spent, you know, big portions of my boxing career, you know, looking up to the likes of Pat McCormack. You know, he was the GB and podium boy when I was. And now it's funny because now, like, we're friends, we're good friends. I'm friends with his brother Luke as well. And it's now funny because it's like kind of flipped on its head just because of how the game is, and showing performances like that. He's going to be a rush for the honours. And I think, if I'm perfectly honest though, I don't know if this is giving too high praise, but Pat and his brother Luke have been the standard of fighter in my eyesight since I've been a 10, 11-year-old kid. They're a year older than me, and they've always been the cream of the crop since they were children, and they will always be probably in boxing. I think them twins there will have one of the funnest, most entertaining, most sporadic and crazy boxing careers you're ever going to see, both in the ring, maybe a little bit out the ring. They're real personalities, they got real big hearts, and above anything else, they genuinely, and I don't say this about many boxers, they love to fight.
Yeah.
Love
You
to
can
fight.
see it in them. You can see it when he landed that shot in the first round. He almost had fun with landing that first shot. Look, Mike, you've seen so many good boxers come through, so many that we think are going to go there and win world titles and don't, some that do achieve when we don't expect it to. What do you think Pat's ceiling is, and what do you think his career ends up with?
I think it's fascinating from here for everybody around him. Eddie Hearn, Ben Davison, everyone around him, as to how quickly they move him along, or indeed how slowly. And they can make big mistakes. We've got a big fight coming up next week on DAZN, Virgil Ortiz against Eimantas Stanionis. And just, you've been talking about the pedigree, the GB squad. When Pat won a silver medal at the European Championships in 2015, that was in the super lightweight, light welter category. At welterweight, Stanionis won the gold medal. So they're in the same kind of landscape. Stanionis has got that minor version of the WBA title. He's had only 14 fights. He was ready to be moved on, and was moved on at the right times. It can be done, but it's a precious piece of promotion and management as to when you take those steps. Look, we know what he's got. We've seen it at the Olympics. We've seen it in World Championships. Now we're starting to see that he's adapting to the pro ranks, and it's so exciting what could be happening for Pat in what is such a sexy division all the way down. If it's welterweight, might be super welter, of course. So
147 and 154. Talking about exciting fights, exciting fighters. You versus Bam Rodriguez. That's what we want. Unified fights, unifications. Eventually, fingers crossed, undisputed fights. What can you tell us? You've signed your portion of the deal. Is Bam not signed his? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's all done now. Like, that's what the post was. Fight signed, big capital letters. I mean, it had his signature on it, so they must have got it from somewhere. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, it is the fight that I've wanted. You know, not even personally, like Bam. I've wanted the fighter that they've deemed the most threat, the highest level of competition. That's the guy I've wanted for the last few years, really. Like, before I even had the world title, and especially since having the world title. At one point, it was Martinez. He was the guy, and then, you know, within a 7-week period, a fighter that very few people had heard of jumped up 2 weights, took a fight, world title last minute, and then became kind of like an overnight breakout sensation, especially in the lighter weights. It doesn't really happen much. So, you know, he was a super flyweight then. It was on my radar. The moment he said he wanted to step down and fight me, I licked my lips, because them fights are everything for me. I don't get anything really, you know, out of training for, organising, trying to build up, trying to sell, trying to promote a fight where, if all truth be told, I'm not really stimulated by the opponent. And without being disrespectful, I think Campos is one of those. I've had a few others, you know, through my career. I've been crying out for the big fight, and I believe I finally got it, unless, you know, touch wood.
So
Touch wood, some wood somewhere.
Yeah.
Some wood somewhere. But I just, you know, there's a lot of months until when they want the fight to happen, and I'm just hoping and praying, you know, inshallah, nothing happens untoward him. Nothing will happen untoward me, because I'm going to wrap myself in bubble wrap and make sure I get to the ring in one piece. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward, you know, there's rumours that there's going to be a press tour. There's rumours that there's going to be, you know, like the behind the scenes 24/7 at All Access. Like,
I might do a face-off. I heard that I could be doing a face-off.
I'll be real. I'm pushing for as much, you know.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, you need to be focusing for a fight and that, but at the same time, I think not only is the battle and the war one with your bodies, is one with your minds. And I feel like the more time I can spend around this 23-year-old child, I will get into his head, and he won't even want to get in the ring, even less than he has done previously. You know, we're all with the same promoters now, so I know how hard they've had to work to get Bam to fight me.
All right,
I know.
All right, look, they're packing away. They want us to get out of here. I love you, Sonny Edwards. I really do. I think you're I think you're fantastic at what you do.
Play slow music.
I'll be the best man.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, everything he does. But fingers crossed we see that one very, very soon. Obviously, Bam probably still recovering for his injuries, but hopefully those recoveries are very quick, because that's the unification fight we want. Dalton Smith, the new outright British champion. That belt he goes home with now, keeps it on the mantelpiece. Pat McCormack looked good as well. So did J.D. Boston. So did Hopi Price. I think it's fair to say.
Nico
we've got some
Levias
talent.
as well. Oh,
yeah.
Just make sure I got the Steel City ones.
You're right. Got to get all of them in. I think we've got some talent on Matchroom and DAZN. See you in the next one.